In Alabama, you can get arrested for wearing a fake mustache in church. In Kentucky, you're legally required to take a bath once a year. And in one state, you can actually go to jail for falling asleep in a cheese factory. These aren't jokes. These are real laws that still exist today, and I ranked all 50 of them from least to most insane. So I spent the last 2 weeks digging through actual legal codes from every single state in America, and what I found was absolutely ridiculous. We're talking about laws that make zero sense, laws that probably made sense 100 years ago but are completely wild today, and some that I honestly can't explain no matter how hard I try. I ranked them based on how weird they are, how outdated they seem, and honestly how much they made me laugh when I first read them. Let's get into it. Here's the thing about old laws. Most of them were created for a specific reason at a specific time in history. Maybe there was an incident, maybe someone did something so stupid that lawmakers felt they needed to step in, or maybe people just had really different values back then. But here's what's crazy. Nobody ever bothered to remove these laws from the books. They're just sitting there collecting dust. Technically enforceable even though nobody really enforces them anymore. At least I hope they don't. The challenge I gave myself was simple. Find the weirdest law from each of the 50 states, verify that it's actually real and not just some internet rumor, and then rank them from the least insane to the most absolutely bonkers piece of legislation I could find. And trust me, some of these are going to make you question what was going through people's heads when they wrote them. Let's start with number 50, which is actually pretty tame compared to what's coming. Number 50, Wyoming. In Wyoming, you're not allowed to take a picture of a rabbit during the month of June without a permit. Now, this one actually kind of makes sense when you think about it. Wyoming takes its wildlife pretty seriously, and back in the day they probably wanted to protect rabbits during their breeding season. But the funny part is that this law specifically mentions photographs, so technically you could stand there and stare at a rabbit all day long in June. You could paint a picture of it. You could write a poem about it. But the second you pull out a camera, you're breaking the law. It's oddly specific, and that's what makes it weird. But compared to what's coming, this is nothing. Number 49, Montana. Montana has a law that says it's illegal to have a sheep in the cab of your truck without a chaperone. Yes, you read that right. If you're a farmer and you need to transport a sheep, you can't just throw it in the passenger seat and drive off. You need another person there. I'm guessing this was meant to prevent something specific from happening, but what that something is, I really don't want to know. Maybe sheep were causing accidents. Maybe they were messing with the steering wheel. The mental image alone is hilarious, but again, we're just getting started. Number 48. Idaho. In Idaho, it's illegal to give your sweetheart a box of candy that weighs more than 50 pounds. This law was apparently created to prevent men from trying to woo women with excessive gifts, which I guess was a problem at some point. Imagine being so worried about guys giving giant boxes of chocolate that you had to create an actual law about it. But here's the loophole. The law says nothing about giving multiple boxes that are each under 50 pounds. So technically, you could give someone 10 boxes of 40-pound candy, and you'd be fine. Take that, Idaho legislators. Number 47, North Dakota. North Dakota made it illegal to fall asleep with your shoes on. This is one of those laws where you just know there's a story behind it, but nobody seems to know what it is. Some people think it was related to fire safety, like maybe they were worried people would need to evacuate quickly, and sleeping in shoes meant you were planning to run or something. Others think it was about hygiene. But either way, it's technically on the books, which means that every single person who's ever passed out on a couch after a long day without taking their shoes off has committed a crime in North Dakota. Number 46, South Dakota. In South Dakota, you're not allowed to fall asleep in a cheese factory. This is so specific that something definitely happened to cause this law to exist. My theory? Someone either got injured because they fell asleep near machinery, or maybe someone fell asleep and contaminated a batch of cheese. Whatever happened, South Dakota lawmakers decided that cheese factories needed to be sleep-free zones, and honestly, I respect the commitment to dairy safety. Number 45, Nebraska. Nebraska has a law that makes it illegal for bar owners to sell beer unless they are also brewing a kettle of soup. This law dates back to the Prohibition era when bars would try to get around alcohol restrictions by claiming they were restaurants. To prove they were serving food, they had to have soup cooking. But here's what's funny. The law never got repealed. So technically, every bar in Nebraska is supposed to have soup available. I wonder how many bars actually know about this and how many are accidentally breaking the law every single day. Number 44, Kansas. In Kansas, it's illegal to catch fish with your bare hands. This one is interesting because it's actually about conservation. Hand fishing, also called noodling, can be really effective but also really harmful to fish populations if too many people do it, so Kansas banned it entirely. What makes this weird is that in some states, noodling is totally legal and even celebrated. But in Kansas, if you're desperate enough to grab a fish with your hands, you better hope nobody's watching because you could get fined. Number 43. Iowa. Iowa made it illegal for horses to eat fire hydrants. Now, I don't know if Iowa had a serious problem with horses chewing on fire hydrants, but apparently it was enough of an issue that someone drafted legislation about it. Maybe the paint was toxic. Maybe horses were damaging city property. Or maybe one horse did it once and some overzealous lawmaker decided to make sure it never happened again. Whatever the reason, this law exists, and it's beautifully absurd. Number 42. Missouri. In Missouri, it's illegal to drive with an uncaged bear in your car. The fact that this law exists means that at least one person in Missouri's history thought it was a good idea to drive around with a bear just chilling in their vehicle. And honestly, I have so many questions. Was the bear tame? Was it a pet? Did it attack someone? How did they even get the bear in the car in the first place? This law is less about how weird it is and more about the story we'll never get to hear. Number 41. Arkansas. Arkansas has a law that states the Arkansas River can rise no higher than the Main Street Bridge in Little Rock. This is one of those laws that's less enforceable and more aspirational. Like, I'm pretty sure the river doesn't care about what the law says, it's going to flood if it wants to flood. But the intention was probably about maintaining infrastructure or setting standards for water management. Still, the idea that you can legislate how high a river is allowed to rise is peak human arrogance. And I love it. Number 40. Louisiana. In Louisiana, it's illegal to send a surprise pizza to someone without their consent. This law was apparently created to stop prank calls where people would order pizzas to random addresses. While it makes sense from a harassment perspective, the fact that pizza specifically is mentioned in the law is what makes it funny. You can't send surprise pizza, but technically you could probably send surprise Chinese food or surprise burgers and be totally fine. Number 39. Oklahoma. Oklahoma made it illegal to make ugly faces at a dog. This law was supposedly created to prevent people from teasing or antagonizing animals, which is actually kind of wholesome. But the wording is so vague. What counts as an ugly face? Is it based on the dog's reaction? Can the dog testify in court? And who decides if your face is ugly enough to warrant legal action? This is one of those laws that sounds silly but probably came from a good place, even if the execution is ridiculous. Number 38. Texas. In Texas, it's illegal to shoot a buffalo from the second story of a hotel. The fact that this is specifically about the second story means that shooting a buffalo from the first story or the third story might be fine, which is the weirdest part. This law probably dates back to the Old West when buffalo hunting was common and hotels were apparently popular vantage points. But why only the second story? Was there a specific incident? Did someone complain about noise? We'll never know, but it's beautifully specific. Number 37. Minnesota. Minnesota has a law that makes it illegal to cross state lines with a duck on your head. This is one of those laws that feels like it was created as a joke, but it's actually in the legal code. My best guess is that it's related to transporting wildlife or poultry across state lines without proper permits. But the on your head part is what makes it absurd. Why not in your arms? Why not in a cage? Why specifically on your head? Was there an epidemic of people wearing ducks as hats? I need answers. Number 36. Wisconsin. In Wisconsin, it's illegal to serve apple pie in public restaurants without cheese. Wisconsin is serious about its dairy, and apparently they believe that apple pie is incomplete without cheese. While this might sound crazy to people from other states, there's actually a tradition in parts of the Midwest of serving apple pie with a slice of cheddar cheese. But the fact that it's legally required in restaurants is what pushes this into weird territory. Imagine getting fined because you forgot to put cheese on someone's dessert. Number 35. Illinois. Illinois made it illegal to speak English. Wait, let me explain. The official language of Illinois is American, not English. This law was passed in 1923, and it was basically a symbolic middle finger to Britain. Americans at the time were still feeling patriotic after World War I, and some lawmakers wanted to make it clear that they spoke American, not English. So technically, speaking English in Illinois is illegal, even though absolutely nobody enforces this and it's completely meaningless. But it's still on the books. Number 34. Michigan. In Michigan, it's illegal for a woman to cut her own hair without her husband's permission. This law is a relic from a time when women had very few rights, and it's genuinely disturbing when you think about the historical context. But from a modern perspective, it's so outdated and ridiculous that it's almost shocking it was never officially removed. No one enforces this anymore, obviously, but the fact that it exists at all is a reminder of how far society has come and how many old laws are still lurking in legal codes. Number 33. Ohio. Ohio has a law that makes it illegal to get a fish drunk. This is another one where you just know something happened. Did someone pour beer into a fish tank as a prank? Was there a scientific experiment gone wrong? Or did someone actually try to get their pet fish drunk for fun? Whatever the case, Ohio decided that intoxicated fish were a problem that needed legislative intervention, and honestly, I'm here for it. Number 32. Indiana. In Indiana, it's illegal to catch a fish with your hands, but unlike Kansas, Indiana's reasoning is even stranger. The law specifically mentions that you can't use firearms, explosives, or electricity to catch fish either, which makes the hands part seem almost reasonable in comparison. But when you group hands with dynamite and guns, it really makes you wonder what was happening in Indiana's rivers and lakes that required this level of specificity. Number 31. Kentucky. In Kentucky, you're legally required to take a bath at least once a year. This law is over a century old and was probably created during a time when bathing wasn't as common as it is today. The fact that the requirement is only once a year tells you a lot about hygiene standards back then. But the real question is, how would this even be enforced? Is there a bath police? Do you need to provide proof? Can you just rinse off with a hose and call it good? This law raises more questions than it answers. Number 30. Tennessee. Tennessee made it illegal to share your Netflix password. Wait, this one is actually recent. In 2011, Tennessee became the first state to make it a crime to share login credentials for entertainment subscriptions. While this was aimed at large-scale piracy operations, the way the law is worded means that technically, if you let your friend use your Netflix account, you could be charged with a crime. Now, no one's actually been arrested for this, but the fact that it's possible is pretty wild. Number 29. Mississippi. In Mississippi, it's illegal to teach others what polygamy is. This law was created in the late 1800s when there was a lot of tension between mainstream America and certain religious groups that practiced polygamy. But the wording is so strange. You can't teach people what polygamy is, but presumably you can practice it. Or maybe you can talk about it but not explain it. The line between education and promotion is really blurry here, and it makes this law almost impossible to enforce. Number 28. Alabama. Remember at the beginning when I mentioned Alabama's law about fake mustaches in church? Here's the full story. In Alabama, it's illegal to wear a fake mustache that causes laughter in church. This law was apparently created because people were using disguises to disrupt church services. But the fact that it specifically mentions mustaches and laughter makes it so much funnier than it needs to be. A fake beard? Fine. A wig? No problem. But a fake mustache that makes people laugh? You're going to jail. Number 27. Georgia. Georgia has a law that makes it illegal to tie a giraffe to a telephone pole or street lamp. This is one of those laws that exists because circuses used to travel through towns, and apparently someone in Georgia tied up a giraffe in a way that caused problems. Maybe it damaged property, maybe it scared people, or maybe it was just really inconvenient. But instead of banning all exotic animals, Georgia went super specific and just said no giraffes on poles. Zebras, elephants, those are fine, apparently. Number 26. Florida. In Florida, if an elephant is left tied to a parking meter, the parking fee must be paid just as it would for a vehicle. This is classic Florida. The state is famous for weird news stories, and their laws are no exception. This law probably dates back to circus days when elephants were more commonly seen in public spaces. But the image of someone feeding coins into a parking meter for an elephant is too good. And technically, if you don't pay, your elephant could get a parking ticket. Number 25. South Carolina. South Carolina made it illegal to work on Sundays, with some very specific exceptions. You can't do manual labor, you can't operate most businesses, and you definitely can't make people work unless it's absolutely necessary. This is a blue law, which are laws designed to enforce religious standards. While most states have relaxed or repealed these laws, South Carolina kept theirs. And technically, if you mow your lawn on a Sunday, you could be breaking the law. Most people ignore it, but it's still there. Number 24. North Carolina. In North Carolina, it's illegal to sing off-key. This law is supposedly aimed at public performances and street musicians, with the idea being that bad singing could be considered a public nuisance. But the subjectivity of this law is what makes it insane. Who decides what's off-key? What if you're singing in an experimental style? What if you're just not very good but you're trying your best? This law would never hold up in court, but the fact that it exists is hilarious. Number 23. Virginia. Virginia has a law that makes it illegal to hunt animals on Sundays, except for raccoons, which can be hunted until 2 a.m. So Sunday is a day of rest for deer, rabbits, and birds, but raccoons? They're fair game until the early morning hours. This is another blue law situation, but the raccoon exception is so random. Why raccoons? Are they considered pests? Do they not deserve Sunday rest? This law is weirdly discriminatory toward one specific animal. Number 22. West Virginia. In West Virginia, it's illegal to whistle underwater. This is physically difficult if not impossible for most people, which makes this law especially pointless. But it exists, and the fact that someone took the time to write it, propose it, and get it passed is incredible. My theory is that this was meant as a joke law, or maybe it was added to a larger bill as filler, but either way, it made it into the legal code and nobody ever bothered to remove it. Number 21. Maryland. Maryland made it illegal to take a lion to the movies. This law probably dates back to when traveling circuses were more common, and someone thought it would be fun to bring their lion to a cinema. Clearly, this caused enough of a problem that Maryland decided to ban it specifically. But the fact that it's only lions makes it funny. Tigers? Bears? Those are apparently fine, but lions are where Maryland draws the line. Number 20. Delaware. In Delaware, it's illegal to sell dog hair. This law was created to prevent scams where people would sell dog hair and claim it was something more valuable, like wool or fur from other animals. But the blanket ban on dog hair sales seems excessive. What if someone wants to sell dog hair for art projects? What if there's a legitimate market for it? Delaware said no, and that's final. No dog hair commerce allowed. Number 19. Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania has a law that states you can't sleep on top of a refrigerator outdoors. Indoors? Totally fine. But if you take your fridge outside and decide to use it as a bed, that's illegal. This is so oddly specific that I'm convinced it happened at least once, and it probably involved alcohol. Maybe someone passed out at a party, maybe it was a college prank. But whatever the reason, Pennsylvania lawmakers felt the need to address it legally. Number 18. New Jersey. In New Jersey, it's illegal to slurp soup in public. This law is all about public etiquette and was probably created during a time when manners were taken very seriously. But the fact that soup slurping specifically is mentioned makes it incredible. You can chew loudly, you can burp, you can probably even lick your plate. But if you slurp your soup, you're technically breaking the law. I wonder if anyone's ever actually been cited for this. Number 17. New York. New York has a law that makes it illegal to jump off a building. Now, on the surface, this sounds like a suicide prevention law, but it's actually about stunts. Back in the early 1900s, people would jump off buildings for publicity, entertainment, or to test parachutes, and New York wanted to stop it. But the way it's worded makes it sound like if you jump and survive, you can be arrested for jumping. So not only did you just risk your life, but now you're also a criminal. Number 16. Connecticut. Connecticut made it illegal for a pickle to bounce. This law exists because there were apparently pickle vendors selling low-quality pickles that didn't meet standards. To test if a pickle was properly fermented and crispy, inspectors would drop it, and if it bounced, it wasn't a real pickle. So Connecticut created a legal test for pickles, and to this day, a pickle must bounce to be considered legitimate. This is peak government overreach, and I love it. Number 15. Rhode Island. In Rhode Island, it's illegal to bite off someone's leg. Now, you might be thinking this is just a weird way of wording assault laws, but no. Rhode Island specifically mentions legs. Not arms, not other body parts, just legs. This implies that at some point in Rhode Island's history, leg biting was enough of a problem that it needed its own law. And honestly, I don't want to know the context. Number 14. Massachusetts. Massachusetts has a law that makes it illegal to put tomatoes in clam chowder. This law is all about protecting New England clam chowder, which is made with cream, from Manhattan clam chowder, which is made with tomatoes. Massachusetts is so serious about their chowder that they made it illegal to desecrate it with tomatoes. This is food regionalism taken to a legal extreme, and as someone who respects both types of chowder, I find this law both funny and slightly offensive. Number 13. Vermont. Vermont made it illegal for women to wear false teeth without written permission from their husbands. This is another deeply sexist historical law that's shockingly still on the books. It's from an era when women were considered property, and even something as simple as dentures required male approval. No one enforces this anymore, obviously, but the fact that it was never officially repealed is a reminder of how many outdated laws still exist in America's legal system. Number 12. New Hampshire. In New Hampshire, it's illegal to sell the clothes you're wearing to pay off a gambling debt while you're still wearing them. This is so specific that you know it happened, probably multiple times. Imagine losing so badly at poker that you literally sell the shirt off your back to cover your losses. New Hampshire decided this was undignified enough to ban, but the specificity of "while you're still wearing them" implies that if you take them off first, it's totally fine. Number 11. Maine. Maine has a law that makes it illegal to step out of a plane while it's in flight. This sounds like common sense, but the fact that it had to be written into law means that someone, at some point, tried to do this. Maybe it was a stunt gone wrong, maybe it was a skydiving accident, or maybe someone was just really confident. Whatever the case, Maine decided to make it crystal clear: stay in the plane until it lands. Number 10. Arizona. In Arizona, it's illegal for donkeys to sleep in bathtubs. This law was created after a bizarre incident in the 1920s when a local merchant's donkey got into a bathtub and then a dam broke, causing a flood. The donkey, still in the tub, floated down the street, and it became a whole spectacle. Arizona lawmakers decided that donkeys in bathtubs were a public safety hazard, so they banned it. This is one of the few laws on this list where we actually know the full backstory, and it's beautiful. Number 9. Nevada. Nevada made it illegal to drive a camel on the highway. This law dates back to the 1800s when the US Army actually experimented with using camels for transportation in the desert Southwest. When the experiment failed, some camels were released into the wild, and apparently people were trying to ride them on roads. Nevada said no, camels are not highway legal, and that law still stands today. So if you're in Nevada with a camel, you better stick to side streets. Number 8. Utah. In Utah, it's illegal to cause a catastrophe. Now, this sounds reasonable until you realize how vague it is. What counts as a catastrophe? Is it based on damage, number of people affected, or is it just whatever the judge feels like that day? This law is so broad that it could technically apply to almost anything, and the fact that Utah felt the need to make catastrophe causing illegal specifically is both funny and slightly concerning. Number 7. Colorado. Colorado has a law that makes it illegal to lend your vacuum cleaner to your neighbor. This law was apparently created to prevent disputes between neighbors over borrowed items. Colorado lawmakers decided that vacuum cleaners specifically were causing enough problems that they needed legal intervention. But why vacuum cleaners? Why not lawnmowers or tools? The specificity makes this law incredible, and I guarantee that thousands of Coloradans are unknowingly breaking this law every single year. Number 6. New Mexico. In New Mexico, it's illegal for idiots to vote. Before you get upset, this is actually a historical law that used the medical terminology of the time. Idiot was a legal term for someone deemed mentally unfit, along with lunatics and other outdated classifications. While this law was meant to protect the voting process, the blunt wording hasn't aged well at all, and modern voting rights laws have made this completely obsolete, but it's technically still in New Mexico's constitution. Number 5. California. California made it illegal to eat an orange in a bathtub. This is one of the most famous weird laws, and nobody knows why it exists. Some people think it was related to old fears about citric acid damaging bathtubs. Others think it was a health code thing, and some believe it's completely made up. But multiple sources claim it's real, and if it is, California decided that bathtub oranges were a problem worth solving. The mental image alone makes this law amazing. Number 4. Washington. Washington has a law that makes it illegal to harass Bigfoot. In 1969, Skamania County in Washington passed a law making it a felony to kill Bigfoot, with the intention of protecting the creature if it turned out to be real. But the law also mentions harassment, which means that if you see Bigfoot, you can't chase it, yell at it, or bother it in any way. This is the only law in America that legally recognizes a cryptid, and that alone makes it incredible. Number 3. Oregon. In Oregon, it's illegal to pump your own gas. Oregon is one of only 2 states where self-service gas stations are illegal, and residents have to wait for an attendant to pump their gas for them. This law was created in 1951, supposedly for safety reasons, but it's really about protecting jobs for gas station attendants. Oregonians have defended this law fiercely over the years, and while it's not as absurd as some others on this list, the fact that an entire state refuses to let people pump their own gas in 2025 is genuinely weird. Number 2. Alaska. Alaska made it illegal to push a live moose out of an airplane. This is so specific that it absolutely happened, and I desperately need to know the story. Was someone using a plane to relocate moose and just shoving them out mid-flight? Was it a prank? Was it some kind of wildlife management strategy gone horribly wrong? The fact that Alaska felt the need to specifically ban pushing live moose from airplanes means this was a real problem, and that's both hilarious and deeply concerning. Number 1. Hawaii. And finally, the weirdest law in America. In Hawaii, it's illegal to put coins in your ears. Nobody knows why this law exists. There's no historical context, no clear reasoning, and no record of coins in ears being a problem in Hawaii. Some people think it was meant to prevent counterfeit coins from being hidden. Others think it was about hygiene. And some believe it's an urban legend that somehow made it into legal code. But multiple sources list this as a real law. And if it is, Hawaii has officially created the most random, inexplicable, and beautifully absurd law in the entire United States. Coins in your pockets? Fine. Coins in your hands? No problem. But the second you put them in your ears, you're a criminal. So there you have it. 50 real laws from all 50 states, ranked from weird to completely unhinged. What's crazy is that these laws are still technically on the books. Most of them aren't enforced anymore, and some of them probably couldn't be enforced even if someone tried, but they exist. They're part of America's legal history, and they tell us a lot about the past. Some of these laws were created with good intentions but terrible execution. Some were responses to specific incidents that we'll never fully understand. And some were probably just lawmakers having a bit too much fun with their legislative power. But all of them remind us that laws are made by humans, and humans are weird. The craziest part is that these are just the laws I found. There are probably hundreds more sitting in dusty legal codes across the country, waiting to be discovered. Every state has its quirks, every town has its strange ordinances, and somewhere out there, someone is probably breaking a law they didn't even know existed. From Wyoming's rabbit photography permits to Hawaii's coin-in-ear ban, America's legal system is full of surprises. We've seen laws about animals in bathtubs, laws about food, laws about fashion, and laws that seem to exist for absolutely no reason at all. Some made sense in their time, some never made sense at all, and some are so weird that they've become part of local legend. The next time you're traveling through the US, remember that every state has its own strange rules, and you might be breaking a law without even knowing it. Don't wear a fake mustache in an Alabama church. Don't slurp your soup in New Jersey. And whatever you do, don't put coins in your ears in Hawaii. If you want to see more weird laws from around the world, check out the next video.